嗨，大家好，我是李维，
我是 Phoebe，
欢迎收看
History Recap。
那我们今天又邀请到我们 Teacher Phoebe，跟我们一起来回忆一下童年的游戏。So, Teacher Phoebe, do you play any console games?
Not really, but I do enjoy the occasional Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay. Today, let's journey back to the 70s and 80s when arcade games first became a thing. Do you know what is the first arcade game?
Tetris?
No. It is actually a game called Pong. Have you ever heard of that?
Pong? No.
Pong is based on this ping pong game. And so what it does is there's one line for each side, you versus the computer, and then there's a ball that bounces in between. You've heard of that.
Does not ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell?
Nope.
All right, too young. Okay. All right, so what about the most popular arcade game?
I'm gonna go with Tetris.
No, not again. All right, I will give you a hint. It's round and it's yellow.
It's round and yellow. Oh, Pac-Man.
Yes, and so today we are going to talk about the history of Pac-Man. That even if you've never played Pac-Man before, I'm sure you've all heard about Pac-Man.
Yeah, and for those who's never heard of Pac-Man, it's basically a maze action game.
Yeah, so actually I Googled Pac-Man recently and I found that Google actually has a little section where you can play the game Pac-Man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So now let's get into the history of Pac-Man.
Pac-Man was developed in the early 1979s by the developer Toru Iwatani. And so Toru Iwatani, who wanted to actually create a game based more around to eat, which is the Japanese word taburu.
And Toru Iwatani also wanted to create a game that was more geared towards a female population, as most of the game at that time were more for the male audience because they were all about fighting, war, or sports.
Right. And that makes me think of games like Tank. Do you know the game of Tank?
Nope.
All right, well, Tank is like this game that I used to play with my dad. Like you go and you shoot bricks and you shoot the enemy battleship. You don't know that?
No.
All right, what about, another game is Breakout. This was quite a famous one where it's also like another platform, but it bounces the ball to break the bricks. You know that game?
Oh, nope.
Okay, I know there's another one, Galaxian. This game was very famous, and it's also about outer space and shooting aliens and ships like that. You know that one for sure.
No, sorry, man.
Well, in that case, do you know what inspired Pac-Man?
Actually, I do. So it's actually a pretty interesting story.
Okay, let's hear it.
Iwatani was out with a few friends to get pizza, and when he pulled out the first slice of the pizza, there was Pac-Man staring at him.
So that is a great story, but I did a little more digging and researching, and I found that actually in 1986, Iwatani actually said in an interview that he would have liked for that to be the story. So I think there was only a bit of half-truth to that story. So Iwatani said later in that interview in 1986 that it was actually the word ko, which is kuchi in Japanese, and by rounding ko, which is mouth for us in English, resemble Pac-Man.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, but take it however you would like. It's a great story with the pizza thing.
Yeah, I do enjoy the pizza story more.
All right, well, do you know how Pac-Man came about getting his name?
No, I don't.
Well, this is another interesting story. So actually, the original name for Pac-Man was actually called Puckman.
Puckman.
Exactly. You know why?
No, I do not.
Well, Puckman was part of the reason was because it resembled a hockey puck.
Oh, I see it. It's round and flat.
Yeah.
It's like hockey puck.
Yeah. So the original title was changed to Pac-Man due to the reason of when they were ready to get their international release, they were afraid that to prevent defacing and profanity being done on the machines, because Pac-Man, if you change that, the P to an F, it becomes...
A bad word.
Yeah, don't say it, it's a bad word.
Right, so wise choice on their part.
Definitely, so it was a good choice that they made Pac-Man after all. So first, Japan released Pac-Man in May of 1980, and it was later introduced to the United States in October of 1980, where Midway Manufacturing was actually the distributor that worked with Namcon to release the game. And Pac-Man, let me tell you, it spread so quickly and crazy like a wildfire, and it caught on throughout the entire United States, earning it over $1 billion within the first year of release.
And it didn't stop there. They created Pac-Man products such as Pac-Man pencil case, Pac-Man pillowcase, Pac-Man clothes, Pac-Man shoes, everything. It was
Pac-Man
crazy.
everything. Yeah,
Yes.
it was a Pac-Man fever going on. So originally, the mascot that was most famous in the United States, I'm sure is all known by Disney, it's Mickey Mouse, right? We all know Mickey Mouse. But actually, after Pac-Man had landed in the United States, it chased to beat Mickey Mouse, and in fact, in 1 year, the sales volume actually surpassed that of Mickey Mouse's.
Yeah, and 40 years later, it's still here.
Exactly. So that's how we see and know the power of Pac-Man, the most popular arcade game of all time. So now let's get into some of the terms relating to arcade games. We talked about arcade games, right? Arcade games are operated via coin. Back in the days, they didn't have things like what we do now. We can just flip our phone and we can play games. Back then, you had to use coins to be thrown into a machine. So therefore, these machines were called coin operated.
Right.
So what does that mean in Mandarin?
Yeah, so coin-operated machines are what we call 投币式.
Ah, that's right. The next word is electric display. What does that mean?
Electric display. So electric is 电子, display is 显示. Together, electric display makes 电子显示器.
Right, so it's kind of like the emu that we have, the screen that we use to play the games, and that could be, display could be anything, right? The TV, the computer, our phones.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. All right, so when we talk about these arcade games, in these early arcade games, most of them are games of skill. How do we say that?
So skill is 技巧. Game of skill would be 技巧游戏.
Right. So what that essentially means is it's something that you can practice and get better at. It's a skill that you can practice, and maybe at first it's hard and you make a mistake, but you can just keep getting better. And in fact, the person who played Pac-Man did that. They just kept getting better and better and better, and they played an actual perfect game. The guy's name is Bill Mitchell, who played a perfect game of Pac-Man that took him 6 hours.
Dude needs a life.
I think so. But he does have the bragging rights.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. Well, so we talked about game of skill. What about a game of chance?
Right, so chance is 机会. So together, game of chance would be 机会游戏.
Right, and 机会游戏, game of chance would be games like gambling stuff. So anything that you're putting your trust in gamble by fate and you don't know what the results might be is called a game of chance.
Right, like buying the lottery.
Right, buying the lottery and different things like that. 那么以上就是我们今天小精灵游戏的由来。如果想要看到更多影片，请点我们下方的连结。那我是 Wade，
我是 Phoebe，
我们下次见，拜
拜拜。